My family pressured me to employ my golden brother and hosted a gathering to mock me, so I let him go and severed every connection. Be me, 29-year-old Marcus. Not really the type to post much, but something happened recently. Been sitting heavy on me and figured maybe writing it out would help. So yeah, here goes. Based in Tampa, run a digital marketing agency. Started the whole thing myself with an overheating laptop. Had like 3 clients that paid me barely enough to cover my rent. Now we've got a team of over 100 people. Decent office, real contracts, and we're doing all right. You'd think my parents would be proud, or at least acknowledge that I didn't crash and burn. Nope. To them, I'm still that guy who plays on his laptop all day. Like I'm running a fantasy football league, not a real company, which honestly would still be fine. If they didn't treat me like a family embarrassment every chance they get. Now, let me give you a little context on my younger brother Tyler, 26-year-old Mel. He's somehow still the golden child, despite barely keeping a job for more than a year at a time. He's done everything from sales consultant to brand ambassador to marketing strategist. But the moment he puts on a button-up and updates his LinkedIn, my parents are acting like he's the next Steve Jobs. Meanwhile, I could be closing a 6-figure deal. And they'd still go, "That's nice, Marcus." Anyway, Tyler's team hit 150% of their target this month. Yeah, okay. Fast forward to now. A few months ago, Tyler lost his job again. Something about company restructuring. But we all know what that usually means. My mom called me right after, asked if I could help Tyler out for a bit. I knew exactly where that was going. She didn't say the word, but it was obvious. She wanted me to hire him. And here's the thing. I actually did it. I know I'm the idiot here. But I thought maybe if I give him a real shot, he'd rise to the occasion. Plus I figured if I'm always being called selfish and cold, maybe this would prove I'm not. So I gave the go-ahead to HR. I didn't even interview him myself. I let the team follow standard procedure. He got hired for an entry-level marketing support role at our Tampa office. Nothing crazy, just enough responsibility to learn and grow, without having to carry any major accounts. 3 weeks later, I open up Instagram during lunch. Yeah, I know, doom scrolling, whatever. And I see this post from Tyler, a big group shot balloons. Banner in the back that says, "Welcome to the team, Tyler." There's a cake with our company logo on it. My parents are in the front row smiling like they just won the lottery. Cousins, some family friends, basically everyone except me. I sat there blinking at my screen for a solid minute. I wasn't even invited to the damn party. Like, bro, this is my company. It's my team. They used my office's event room. Used my logo, probably used our company credit card for catering, and I didn't even get a text. So I called my mom straight up. No passive-aggressive buildup, just, "Hey, why wasn't I invited to Tyler's welcome party?" And she goes all casual. "Oh, Marcus, we figured you were busy. We didn't want to bother you. Didn't want to bother me. Didn't want to bother me with a party that I unknowingly paid for to celebrate hiring someone I reluctantly agreed to help." Okay, I didn't even say anything for a few seconds. I think I literally had to reset my brain like an old router. When I finally found my voice, I asked, "How did you pay for it?" And she goes, "Well, some of the decorations and food came from that help you gave me a couple weeks ago." Things were tight, remember? Oh, I remembered. 3 weeks before she called, saying their heating bill had doubled, and they were behind on groceries. Asked me for $2,800 to help them stay afloat. I wired it without thinking. No questions, just did it. And that's where the money went. To a party for Tyler that I wasn't invited to. After that call, I sat at my desk staring at my monitor, just trying to process how casually that was all delivered to me. No guilt, not even a weird nervous laugh. Just pure matter-of-factness, like it was normal. Like that's what kids are supposed to do. Fun surprise parties. They're excluded from. That night, I called my cousin Jessica, 28-year-old female. She lives about 50 minutes away. We grew up close. She's more like a sister to me than Tyler ever was. She knows the whole history. The favoritism, the guilt-tripping, all of it. I sent her the Instagram post and said, "Am I being pettier?" She didn't even wait, called me immediately, and just said, "Marcus, they used your money to throw a party you weren't invited to. If you don't cut them off, I'm going to drive over there and do it myself." She was joking, kind of. That was the final straw for me. I opened my banking app, scrolled to the automatic payments I had set up for my parents. Yeah, I had regular monthly payments going to them, and canceled every single one. No heads up, no drama, just click done. I also marked both my parents and Tyler under a new label in my phone. Do not fund. I sat on my couch after that, still in work clothes, just staring at the wall. It wasn't even anger anymore. It was just this weird mix of relief and exhaustion. Like I finally gave myself permission to stop playing the role they wrote for me, the boring but helpful son. And I wasn't about to fund Act 2 of their Tyler celebration tour. After I cut the payments off, I figured I'd get a reaction. I just didn't expect it to be so fast. Literally 3 days later, my mom texted me. "Hi, sweetie. I think something's wrong with the bank transfer. Can you check?" I didn't respond. Next day, voicemail from my dad. "Marcus, this is serious. You can't just stop helping us out. We're counting on that money." That's what did it for me. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Did something happen?" Just straight to the part where I'm a walking bill pay app. No small talk, no human emotions, just pure transactional need. The thing is, I'm not mad that they needed help. Life's hard, especially for older folks. What kills me is the way it was always framed. Like it wasn't help, it was my duty. They never once said thank you without following it up with some kind of jab. Like, "We're so lucky to have one responsible kid," followed immediately by, "Maybe now you'll do something fun like your brother does." I mean, what Tyler, the fun one, has burned through 6 jobs in 7 years. At one point, he was selling nutritional supplements online and had the nerve to call himself a health consultant. The dude ate gas station pizza 5 nights a week and thought fasting meant skipping breakfast until 11:30 a.m. But sure, I'm the boring one, the one who doesn't live a little. Okay, let me rewind a bit to show you how deep this nonsense runs. It started small, like everything usually does. A few years ago, my mom called and asked for $350 because their fridge had died. I sent it without thinking. Next time it was car repairs, then a root canal, then a small loan to help Tyler out after he invested in crypto, and lost $1,500 on some sketchy app he downloaded from a pop-up ad. At first it felt good helping. Like, all right, they're finally seeing me as the stable one, the reliable son. But the appreciation faded real fast. After a while, the requests came with this weird tone. Less asking, more assuming. "Hey, Marcus, can you send $900 by Friday? We're going to be short this month. We figured you could spot us $1,300 for the insurance thing. You know, since you're doing well. Tyler needs help with rent again. He's just getting back on his feet." It was always some vague emergency. No repayment, no record, just guilt served on a silver platter. Meanwhile, I'm juggling contracts, running a team, paying employees working 65-hour weeks. And they're throwing parties with cake that has my logo on it. I talked to Jessica again after the texts started piling up. She came over that weekend with takeout and sat on my couch like she was ready for war. Jessica doesn't play games when it comes to family BS. She's been dealing with her own drama from her mom's side, so she gets it. She asked, "So what's the next move?" I told her, "Nothing, I'm not replying. They'll figure it out eventually." She nodded, but gave me that look. The one that says, they're not going to stop until you draw a line in cement, not just chalk. And she was right. On Tuesday, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I don't usually answer random numbers, but I was in a good mood and figured it might be a client. Nope, it was my dad calling from some burner phone or his buddy's number or who knows. "Marcus," he said, all serious. "I know you're angry about something, but that doesn't mean you can just cut us off." I kept my voice flat. "Dad, I'm not angry. I'm just done being used." He tried to laugh it off like use it was too harsh. "Come on, it's not like that. We're family, we help each other." I replied, "When's the last time you helped me?" He went silent, then tried to pivot. "This isn't about keeping score." Exactly, that's the problem. They never kept score because in their eyes, I never added points. I just filled in the blanks, and Tyler was the MVP of a game he never even finished. After that call, I blocked that number too. They started calling Jessica next, like I wouldn't find out. She told them politely at first that she wasn't getting involved. But then my mom sent her this whole message about how I'm going down a cold path and pushing the family away. Jessica snapped. She screenshotted the message, sent it to me, and said, "I'm done with them too. This isn't a family, it's a subscription service with no cancel button." That made me laugh. She always knows how to say things in a way that hits but still makes you smile. The worst part is deep down, I always knew it would come to this. There's only so long you can carry people who don't want to walk. And it's not like they were trying not even a little. The same week they started panicking about the canceled payments. Tyler posted a selfie from some rooftop bar with the caption, "Success is mindset." He tagged a clothing brand that definitely didn't sponsor him, and replied to his own post with fire emojis. I showed Jessica the post, and she said, This man has been employed for 11 days and already thinks he's the CEO of Lifestyle. The thing is, Tyler didn't even do his job right. And I'm not saying that he made a couple mistakes way. I mean, he literally didn't do the job he was hired for. A basic support role in the marketing department. Nothing flashy, just groundwork stuff. Follow up on warm leads, keep CRM notes updated, join the weekly calls, and hand off anything serious to the account managers. That's it. It was the kind of role you give someone fresh out of college, who needs to get their feet wet. I gave him the easiest possible path and even made sure he got a decent team lead, who's known for being chill and helpful. But from day one, Tyler acted like it was all beneath him. Showed up late like it was normal. Didn't say a word in meetings, skipped follow-ups, and left early without logging anything. There were full days where nobody could reach him. He'd say, working remote today, and then post a gym mirror pic during core office hours. But I told Eric to treat Tyler like anyone else. Document everything, send warnings. Don't give him a pass just because we share DNA. Tyler ignored the first 2 warnings. Third one, he argued with a client and told them they were too demanding in an email. That's when I knew I had to make a decision. Not as a brother, not even as a son, but as the guy running this place. He was about to get fired, and I already knew the tantrum that was coming. So the day came, I called HR that morning and told Valerie, our department head, today's the day he's got to go. She already knew Tyler's manager had forwarded yet another flagged interaction. This time, Tyler completely missed a client onboarding call. And when they emailed to reschedule, he replied 6 hours later with, "My bad, got swamped, LOL." Swamped doing what he hasn't updated a single CRM task in 3 weeks. I told Valerie to proceed like it was any other employee. We've got protocols for this. 2 write-ups, final warning, termination. He had already burned through the first 2, and the final one was just waiting for my sign-off. I signed it before finishing my coffee. She scheduled a 4:30 p.m. meeting with him. Standard procedure. It gives enough time for the day to be mostly done, but doesn't leave them sitting in the office stewing in it. At 4:37, I get a Slack ping from Valerie, meeting ended. He didn't take it well left, without saying anything. All right, cool, professional, done. Except it wasn't. At 4:52 p.m., I get a call caller ID. Mom ignored. 3 minutes later, Dad ignored again. By 5 my phone was blowing up like I just committed a felony. Missed calls, voicemails, and texts stacked one after another. I finally opened one from my mom. "How could you? Tyler is crushed. You humiliated him." Another one from Dad. "You better fix this before it gets ugly. We're coming to talk to you in person." That last line made me pause. I read it 4 times. "We're coming to talk to you in person." I looked at the time, 5:04 p.m. My office is 22 minutes from their house. At exactly 5:26, my receptionist Ellie called my extension. "Hey Marcus, your parents are here, and Tyler..." I walked out to the front myself. I didn't want to drag security into it unless I had to. When I got there, they were already in the lobby. My dad pacing my mom with her arms crossed. And Tyler slumped into one of the chairs, like he was waiting for a dentist appointment he didn't want to go to. I didn't even say hello, just, "This isn't the place for this, you need to leave." My dad stepped forward. "Not until we talk about what you did." "What I did was hold your son to the same standard as every other employee," I said. "He didn't do his job. He got written up. He didn't fix it, so he got fired." Mom jumped in, voice raised. "You didn't have to actually go through with it, Marcus. You could have warned him. You could have talked to us first." I blinked at her. "Why would I talk to you about a company decision? You don't work here, and neither should he." Tyler finally stood up, shaking his head. "You think you're such a big deal, huh? Just because you got lucky with some code and a few clients?" I actually laughed. "Lucky I was sleeping in a shared office and eating peanut butter sandwiches for 3 years. While you were posting selfies with energy drinks in a shared apartment, that's when he lost it. He stormed up to me, jabbing a finger in my face. "You think you're better than me that you can just throw me away like I'm nothing?" "No," I said. "I think you acted like you were nothing, and now you're dealing with the results." I kept my voice calm, but people were starting to gather. My staff was pretending not to look, while very much looking. I turned to my parents. "You're making a scene in my office. Either you leave now, or I call security." Dad's jaw clenched. "You're going to kick us out of your life just like that." "You've been kicking me out of your life since before this company had a logo," I said. "You just didn't notice because I was still wiring you money." Tyler muttered something under his breath. I didn't catch it, and I didn't care to. That's when I pointed toward the exit. "I'm serious. Leave, you're embarrassing yourselves." They left not before my mom gave me the classic disappointed look, like I'd let her down. I watched them walk out the glass doors, and it felt like someone had opened a window in my brain. Later that night, I got a voice message from Dad. Plot one sentence. You're going to regret doing this to your own family. Yeah, that sentence again. That same tired line they've always used to hang over my head. Like some invisible debt I never agreed to. I sat there listening to it, then deleted it. The next morning I walked into the office and it was back to business. Valerie gave me a nod when I passed her desk. Kind of a silent, "You okay?" moment. I just nodded back. Around noon, Jessica texted me, "Heard the family meltdown made it to the office, you good?" I replied, "Yep, finally burned the bridge they've been trying to walk across for years." She responded with a string of fire emojis and a gif of a guy blowing up a bridge. I needed that. The rest of the week was quiet. No seats. Like they were regrouping waiting for their next dramatic entrance. Sure enough, Sunday rolled around 7:15 p.m. I just finished meal prepping and was halfway through cleaning up. When someone rang the doorbell, I checked the cam. Guess who all three again? I opened the door because I didn't want them banging and yelling. Loud enough for my neighbors to start posting on next door. Dad started talking first. "Marcus, we didn't come here to argue. We came because we're hurting, and we need your help." Mom nodded like they were tag teaming me. "Tyler's trying to figure things out. He's been looking for jobs. He just needs some support, we all do." Tyler stayed quiet but had that same tired look on his face, like the world owed him a break. Then Dad said it, "We need some money to stay afloat just for a couple months." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "How much?" Mom glanced at Dad, then at me. $5,500. I took a deep breath. "No." They blinked. Dad looked confused. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, you're not getting another dollar from me," I said. "This isn't a loan. It's not temporary. It's done." Mom's voice cracked. "Marcus!" I cut her off. "You used my money to throw a party I wasn't invited to. You let Tyler screw around at my company, then blame me when I held him accountable. And now you're back asking for money like nothing happened." Dad stepped forward. "Don't make us your enemies." I stepped back and started to close the door. "You did that on your own." Before it shut completely, I added, "If you show up here again, I will get the law involved." I locked the door, sat back down at the kitchen table, ate my reheated chicken like it was victory steak. After that, I figured I'd finally bought myself some peace. Like, all right, you made your dramatic entrances, said your dramatic lines. Now go be dramatic somewhere else. But nah, that would have required a level of self-awareness. I honestly don't think any of them have. The next few days were quiet, though. Eerily quiet. No texts, no blocked number, calls, no fake emergencies, just silence. Jessica and I met up for coffee that Friday. We sat outside because Tampa had one of those rare, perfect spring afternoons where the wind feels scripted. She brought a box of pastries because, in her words, real support means snacks. So she asked, tearing into a croissant like it owed her money, "Are they gone for good, or is this just the intermission?" I smirked. Feels like a break between acts. They're regrouping, planning a guilt monologue. She nodded. "Well, if they try anything, you've got backup." I've got receipts and I'm not afraid to forward them to the whole group chat. Jessica and I have this thing where we joke about turning the whole mess into a PowerPoint. Title slide, "Why Marcus is Not Your Wallet a Timeline." By Saturday morning, I knew Act 2 had begun. Valerie called me, which was already unusual, since she rarely calls on weekends unless something's on fire. I picked up and heard her say, "Sorry to bother you, but I just got an email from someone named Angela Benton." I froze for a second. "That's my mom." "Yeah, I figured," she said. She emailed HR directly asking about a severance review for Tyler, and if we could correct the misunderstanding. "She CC'd you and your cousin, who I guess is Jessica?" I almost dropped my phone. She CC'd Jessica. "This woman, my own mother." Valerie went on, "I just wanted to confirm how you want to handle this before I respond." I told her, short, polite, professional, standard denial, and remove Jessica from the CC thread. She's not company staff, just extremely patient. Valerie chuckled, got it. The email she ended up sending back was a masterpiece. Straight to the point, HR tone on full blast. At this time, there are no eligibility factors that warrant severance. All employee transitions follow standard protocol based on performance and conduct. Thank you. Mic drop. Jessica texted me 12 minutes later. "Why is your mom dragging me into corporate HR chains like I'm the VP of Logic?" I didn't even know how to reply. But the best part that was only phase 1 On Monday, I walked into the office to find a package on my desk. No label, no sender address, just my name. I opened it cautiously because let's be real. My parents showing up at my house, unannounced, didn't exactly scream healthy boundaries. Inside a printed photo of the family party, the same one I wasn't invited to. It was framed and taped to the back was a sticky note in my mom's handwriting. "You're still part of this family, don't forget that." I stared at it for a full minute, then called our receptionist. "Hey, can you do me a favor if anyone from my family shows up? Tell them I'm in meetings for the next 12 years. She laughed and said, "Already have a note on your profile. That's why she's my favorite." I shoved the frame into a drawer and got back to work. The day went fine, surprisingly. I avoided checking my personal phone most of the afternoon, but around 5:45 I gave in. 5 voicemails, 3 texts, all from Dad. First voicemail: "Marcus, this is your father. You're not too big for your family. We still love you, even if you've forgotten how to act like a son." Second voicemail: "This is getting ridiculous. We're not your enemies. Stop trying to punish us for your success." Third voicemail: "If you're not going to help, just say it." Fourth voicemail: "We'll come by again tomorrow." Fifth voicemail: "You can't ignore us forever." The texts: "Dad, if you had any respect, you'd pick up. We'll be at your house at 7:30. This behavior is unacceptable, Marcus. Your mother is crying because of you." At this point, I was sitting at my desk rereading the same email for 7 minutes straight and not absorbing a single word. My shoulders were tight. My jaw felt locked. I hadn't clenched my fist like that since college. I texted Jessica, "They're coming over again tonight." She wrote back instantly, "Want me to show up in camo and pretend to be security?" Tempting, but I had another idea. I called a lawyer friend of mine named Brian. We've worked together on some compliance stuff for the company, and I knew he handled civil issues too. "Hey," I said, "how hard is it to file a no-contact order if your own parents keep showing up uninvited? After being told not to?" Brian paused. "You serious?" "Dead serious." He said, "If you've got proof texts, voicemails, any harassment, it's doable, especially if you feel threatened or they won't respect boundaries." "I have everything," I said. We set an appointment that evening. I didn't open the door when they knocked, or rang the bell, or banged on it. I just watched through the camera feed on my phone. They stood there for 12 minutes, then left. Tyler kicked a potted plant on the way out. It was fake, but still real tantrum. The next morning, I met with Brian. I gave him everything. He looked through it all, nodding slowly, like he'd seen this play out before. "They're not going to stop," he said. "This is more than a bad argument. This is a pattern." We filed the paperwork that week. I didn't tell anyone in the family, not even Jessica, not right away. I just wanted one thing in my life to happen, without drama attached to it, like duct tape. The following Friday, I got the confirmation. Temporary no contact order granted. They legally couldn't show up at my house, my office, or contact me directly. It was quiet that weekend, like weirdly quiet, and I liked it. I sat on my balcony Sunday night drinking tea and watching the city breathe, and thought to myself, so this is what peace feels like. Not a single Marcus we need, or Marcus just one more favor. Just me and my own life not being used as a family subscription service. No refunds, no apologies, and finally no more pretending. They'd ever see me as anything other than a walking transaction. I knew it wasn't going to stay quiet forever. It never does. About a week later, I got a text from Jessica that just said, "What did you do?" With a screenshot attached. It was from the extended family group chat. One I left months ago, because it was 85% photos of Tyler holding a dog he didn't even own, and the rest was my mom forwarding boomer memes. The message she screenshotted was from my dad, apparently. Marcus filed legal action against his own family. This is what money does to people. Then my mom chimed in right under it. He used to be kind before that company poisoned him. Poisoned me. Sure, the business that kept them living comfortably for years was now the villain of the story. Jessica followed up with, "Do you want me to say something?" As he calm discouraged. I told her, "No, let them spin whatever they want." The people who mattered already knew the truth. My circle was small now, and I liked it that way. Still, part of me couldn't help but feel this weird ache. Like, I knew they'd react poorly, but it still sucked. To see your own parents framing you as the bad guy, because you finally said enough. 3 days later, I got a letter in the mail, not an email. A printed out folded letter in a white envelope. Like it was 1999, no return address. But the handwriting on the front was definitely my mom's. Inside 4 pages of emotional cartwheels, Page 1, how I'd changed since becoming successful. How I let outside people like Jessica poison my thinking. Page 2, a bullet list. Yes, actual bullet points, of times they believed that they'd sacrificed for me. Most of them were laughable. One was, here's a sample, we bought you a new backpack every school year. Another, your father drove you to school during winter twice when the bus broke down. Twice. Page 3, more of the same, we supported your dreams when nobody else believed. Page 4 was the closer, the real goal, a soft plea wrapped in guilt frosting. If you really cared about this family, you'd drop this legal nonsense. And come to the table, let's talk like we used to. We still believe in you. Funny how people only believe in you when your bank account's healthy. I tossed the letter on the kitchen counter and left it there for 3 days. Not because I didn't want to deal with it, just because I'd stopped giving them that kind of power. On the 4th day, I scanned it into a PDF and sent it to my lawyer. Brian replied within the hour. We'll document it. Nothing in here violates the order, but it proves they're trying to get around it emotionally. Let me know if anything escalates. And it did. The next week, I had just wrapped a product roadmap meeting and was heading out of the building when one of our junior staff, Lauren, stopped me in the hallway. Hey, Marcus, so I think someone from your family tried to get into the building? I froze. What happened? She pulled out her phone. Security caught them at the front. Said they were your parents, they were told you weren't available, and they left. But they were kind of intense. I nodded. Thanks for telling me if they ever show up again. Tell security to call me right away. The second I got home, I called Brian again. This time, we filed for a permanent no-contact order. The judge expedited it based on repeated attempts to contact me, at both my residence and workplace. And when it came through, that was it. They were legally barred from showing up or contacting me. I had peace on paper now, not just hope. But of course, Tyler had to have his moment, too. He posted on LinkedIn of all places. Yes, LinkedIn. A status update that read, some people climb the ladder and forget who held it steady. Real success isn't about money, it's about loyalty. Never sell out your roots. I sat at my desk and laughed out loud. This man, who couldn't send a follow-up email without sounding like a middle schooler, was out here acting like some philosophical business icon. He had a whole comment thread under it too, with people replying, facts so true, and the ever-classic spoken like a real one. Jessica messaged me, did he just subtweet you on LinkedIn? I replied, guess he thinks betrayal comes with benefits. We both agreed it was embarrassing. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't even like the post. Just to mess with him, though, I was very tempted. But a few days later, karma showed up casually and unannounced. The way it always should. I got a call from someone I used to know, who worked at the same small company Tyler had just started working for. Apparently, he'd landed a junior marketing assistant role. And get this, he no-showed a client meeting and blamed calendar sync issues. It was 100% his fault they let him go after 12 days. Twarg. And suddenly I get this long email in my inbox from Tyler. The subject line, can we talk? Body, I know things have been tense, I just wanted to say. I've been thinking a lot about how things played out. I don't want us to stay on bad terms. Maybe we can meet up sometime and just talk, no pressure, just brothers. I didn't respond. I forwarded it to Brian instead. I didn't even feel angry anymore, just tired. Tired of being the only one held to any standard. Tired of carrying people who saw me more as an opportunity than a person. The next weekend, Jessica came over with pizza, and we sat on the couch watching old episodes of Kitchen Nightmares. At one point, she looked over and said, do you ever feel guilty? I thought about it, then shook my head. I felt guilty when I was being taken for granted and didn't know how to stop it. Now I feel like I'm finally being fair to myself. She nodded and raised her soda can to being fair. I clinked mine with hers, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like a bad son. I felt like a person with boundaries. And that felt better than any fake apology or empty thank you they could have given me. That night, I got an idea. The next morning, I emailed our internal comms lead and said I wanted to start a mentorship program, something low-key but meaningful. A way for young professionals, especially ones who came from messed up or complicated families, to get guidance support, and most importantly, a network that doesn't guilt them into obedience. We launched the pilot 4 weeks later, called it Foundations. Simple name, big message. We got 22 signups in the first week. 2 of them were employees I'd worked with for over a year, who I had no idea were carrying that kind of weight. One guy told me, I never thought someone like you would get it. That hit harder than anything my parents ever said. Because, yeah, I'm not some sob story with a perfect redemption arc. I didn't grow up in the foster system or go through extreme trauma. But I did grow up in a house where being successful meant more was expected from you, not less. Where love came with terms and fine print. Where helping wasn't helping, it was paying rent for love you already earned. And that's where I am now, running a company that actually means something to me. Not just because of the money or the success, but because it's proof that you can build something real without compromising who you are or what you believe in. I've got a team that respects me for the work I do, not the checks I write. I've got Jessica, who's been more family than my actual family ever was. And I've got peace, real peace, not the kind that comes with conditions. The mentorship program is growing. We're helping people who grew up like I did. People who were taught that their worth was measured in what they could provide, not who they were as human beings. And every success story that comes out of it, every person who learns to set boundaries, every young professional who realizes they don't owe their family their entire paycheck, makes all of this worth it. My parents and Tyler, they're still out there somewhere, probably telling anyone who'll listen about how I changed, how success corrupted me, how I abandoned my family. And you know what? They're right about one thing. I did change. I stopped accepting being treated like a human ATM. I stopped pretending that guilt was the same thing as love. I stopped funding people who saw me as a subscription service instead of a son. So yeah, that's my story. Not exactly a fairy tale ending, but it's real. And it's mine. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm not apologizing for putting myself first. I'm not explaining why I deserve basic respect. I'm not justifying my right to have boundaries. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, you don't owe anyone your financial stability just because you share DNA. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And you definitely don't have to fund parties you're not invited to. Family is supposed to be about love and support, not transactions and guilt trips. Build your own family if you have to. The one you choose will always be stronger than the one you're assigned. And if that makes you the bad guy in their story, so be it. At least you'll be the hero in your own.